market, cryptocurrencies, and NFTs create new dynamics towards emerging market millionaires and billionaires. From the dot-com era to the oil booms, the fundamental news drives the market. This is Business 360, taking you to the business around the globe. Join us from 11:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. weekdays, exclusive on Spectrum Television. Business 360, your prism to world businesses.
This is Business 360, taking you to businesses around the world. I am Edidion Martin. Dealing with high inflation is never simple. With stagflation, it is even more complicated. Stagflation is typically marked by slow economic growth combined with relatively high unemployment and rising prices. We're not seeing stagflation yet. Unemployment is low and growth is uneven across sectors and geographies. High inflation erodes the purchasing power of people's income and wealth, and as that occurs, real spending can decelerate to even decline. We'll be starting Business 360 today with Barclays to buy up to $17.6 billion of notes sold in error. Barclays PLC will start to buy back as much as $17.6 billion of securities after it accidentally sold more structured and exchange-traded notes than it had registered for sale. According to the bank, the repurchase period will start on August 1st and will expire on September 12th. Barclays separately said it plans to resume the issuance and sale of some iPath exchange-traded notes which had been suspended in April. In March, the bank said it had issued billions more security than it registered with the Security Exchange Commission. While the error requires the firm to repurchase affected securities at their original price under the so-called recession offer. Well, away from that, Twitter Incorporated scored an early win against Elon Musk in its fight to make him complete his $44 billion buyout as a Delaware judge agreed to fast-track the case with an October trial date. Chancery Court Chief Judge Kathleen McMurray has cancelled the trial for 5 days in the fall instead of 2 weeks in February as the billionaire requested. Twitter argued that it was suffering under the Tesla founder's withdrawal from the deal and disparage of the social media company. In a hearing in Wilmington, the judge made clear that she saw little merit in Musk scheduling arguments, saying his lawyer underestimates the ability of this court or the court to quickly proceed complex disputes in merger and acquisition cases. Well, our next story will be on Philippines Marcos Jr. as he unveils economic blueprint for turbulent times. Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has vowed to slash poverty, rein in soaring food prices, and boost renewable energy as he unveiled an ambitious blueprint for the 6-year term. In his first State of National address, Marcos Jr. offered a laundry list of targets ranging from getting children back into classrooms, easing the debt burden of farmers, and expanding the internet access. After inheriting an economy ravaged by COVID-19 lockdowns and inflation, the new president expressed cautious optimism for the future, even as the war in Ukraine and supply chain disruptions drive up food and fuel prices. The Philippines Central Bank recently raised interest rates for the third straight month as it struggled to rein in surging energy prices. Inflation hit 6.1% in June. This was the highest level in nearly 4 years. Well, Russian energy giant Gazprom says it will once again drastically cut gas supplies to the EU through its main pipeline due to maintenance work. Gazprom said stopping another turbine at the Nord Stream 1 pipeline would cut daily gas production to 20%, halving the current level of supply. The German government said there was no technical reason to limit gas supply. It is likely to make it more difficult for EU countries to replenish their stores of gas before winter. The Nord Stream 1 pipeline, which pumps gas from Russia to Germany, has been running well below capacity for weeks and was completely shut down for a 10-day maintenance break earlier this month. Still talking about energy, let's look at the energy market. As Brent crude climbs, supplies remain tight at $106 per barrel. Nigeria's crude price benchmark Brent crude oil rose towards $106 per barrel today, extending gains in the previous session. Impending rate hike from the U.S. Federal Reserve is fueling recessionary and demand concerns. Tensions between the West and Russia remain high as G7 nations prepare to impose a price cap on Russian oil, but Moscow had pushed back against such plans, stating it will not supply oil to countries that impose such restrictions. Russia's Gazprom also said supplies through the Nord Stream 1 pipeline to Germany will drop to just 20% of capacity, a move that should stroke a switch from gas to crude as energy source. Meanwhile, recent US and European data are already showing signs of slowing economic activity, while China narrowly missed a contraction in the second quarter. The Fed is expected to deliver another 75 basis point rate hike on Wednesday, exacerbating fears of an economic lockdown. Well, at this point, we'll go for a breather. When we return, we will look at more business stories, especially in Nigeria. Stay with us. Stay tuned. Airtel Africa has purchased additional spectrum in Kenya to extend its operation in the country, 8 months after the company lost the 5G bid to its rivals in Nigeria. The telecommunications firm acquired 60 megahertz of additional spectrum in Kenya at the worth of $40 million through its subsidiary Airtel Kenya Networks Limited. According to Airtel Africa in a statement, the acquisition would improve its 4G service and enable the rollout of its 5G in Kenya. This comes amid Airtel Africa's inability to acquire 5G spectrum in Nigeria, which is its biggest market in Africa. Airtel Africa will have to wait for 2 more years before laying its hands on the 5G spectrum or offer 5G network service after the firm was outbid in a bidding round held in December 2021 by MTN Nigeria and Mafabs Communications Limited. Well, our next story is on the Security and Exchange. The Security and Exchange Commission has said that it had begun implementing measures aimed at encouraging more listings and by creating new rules and amending existing ones, improving general review processes, continuing engagements with issuers, advisors, and other critical stakeholders. Director General of the SCE, Lamido Yugudu, who stated this at the Nigerian Exchange Limited CEO Roundtable held in Lagos, said the Commission and the Exchange have moved to make the processes involved in listing more effective and cost-effective by streamlining the approval process between SCE and the Nigerian Exchange. The SCE DG said the Commission is also making concerted efforts to ensure the ripple of investments and the Security Act 2007 and the passage of a new investment and security bill into law. He said this is to align the current realities and global trends in capital market regulation, including growing changes in market practices, processes, and products. Well, I won't conclude Business 360 without looking at the market. The Nigerian capital market closed yesterday, setting the pace for today, with a loss of 312.4 billion naira, following the crash in equity capitalization by minus 1.11% on Monday. After 8 hours of trading on the floor of the market, the equity capitalization dropped from 28.03 trillion naira to 27.71 trillion naira. The all-share index was down by 579.39 basis points, closing at 51,400.53. CAP led the gainers with 1 naira 70 kobo to rise from 17 naira to 18 naira 70 kobo per share. NACO also gained alongside FTN Cocoa, Multiverse, and Unity Bank's share also appreciated. MTN Nigeria topped the losers chart after shedding 16 naira to drop from 229 naira to 213 naira per share, as well as United Capital, RT Briscoe, Sovereign Insurance share also dropped.